Gentlemen, how are you?
Good morning, Governor.
Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Barnett, Barrett, Blackman, Blackwell, Blunt, Boyd, Branning, Bryan, Butler, Carter, Kaufman, Chazanall, Chisholm, DeBar, Delano, England, Fillingame, Frazier, Harkins, Hill, Hobson, Horn, Jackson of the 11th, Jackson of the 32nd, Johnson, Jordan, Kirby, McCon, McDaniel, McClendon, McMahon, Michelle, Moran, Norwood, Parker, Parks, Pope, Seymour, Simmons of the 12th, Simmons of the 13th, Sojourner, Sparks, Suber, Tate, Thomas, Thompson, Turner, Ford, Whaley, Wiggins, William, Witherspoon, Younger. Mr. President, a quorum is present.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The senators, please rise for the invocation given by Senator Tyler McCon. It will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Senator Albert Butler. Senator McCon.
Let us pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and the beautiful weather that we're now experiencing. Let us remember all that we went through last week so that we will enjoy and be more gracious for the beautiful skies that you put forth today. Father, we pray that you will continue to be with this body, all that work in this Capitol, and all of our statewide officials, as we all strive to make our state just a little bit better. Father, we pray that as we go forth with our daily lives after this session, that we will continue to strive to make this state a little bit better. Father, be with us today as we do your work. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, senators.
Good thing I was here early. At the end, Bryce.
All right. Now to the reading of the journal. Senator Blackwell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to dispense with the reading of the journal.
Senator moves to dispense with the reading of the journal. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Next to message and petitions, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. President, there are none.
Next, committee report. Senator Blackwell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to dispense with the reading of the committee reports.
Senator moves to dispense with the reading of committee reports. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Next, bills, titles of bills and resolutions. I recognize Senator Blackwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to dispense with the reading of the titles of the bills and resolutions.
Thank you, Senator. The senator moves to dispense with the reading of titles, bills, and resolutions. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Now, introductions of guests. Introductions of guests. Anyone introducing our guest? We have some doctors of the day up here that I want to introduce, and I think everybody, there he is. Come on, Senator. Senator Barnett. You're recognized for introduction.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like for the senators in the chamber to please join me in the North Gallery. The doctor of the day, Ms. Teresa Camp, who is with us from the South Central Regional Medical Center in Laurel, Mississippi, where she serves as the Chief Quality Officer. Please help me join in making her welcome to the state capitol.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming today. We appreciate your work. Okay, now moving to any other announcements? Any other announcement? I'm sorry, Senator Butler, you're recognized for an announcement, or an introduction, I'm sorry, introduction.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I would just like to bring to the attention of all the senators that today is Alcorn State University Purple and Gold Day, and if you look around, you should have some of the Alcorn hot sauce and other goodies coming from the university. I want you to enjoy yourself and enjoy the sauce.
Thank you, Senator Butler. Tell the university we appreciate that, and good luck in the season. All right, any other introductions? Any other introductions? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to the calendar. And we will start with Senator Hobson. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I thought what we could do today before we start taking up the bills, the appropriations calendars, to kind of give an overview. I think that's traditionally what we've done, to give an overview of the budget. Hopefully each of the members have a worksheet at their desks, and I'll go through that, kind of hit the high points, and then go to the bills that are on the calendar, if that would suit the President.
Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. Each of you should have a worksheet at your desk about the appropriations appropriations worksheet and the first action that we plan to take from the Senate. You'll see that every budget is at LBR except for the ones where you see a change in the fourth column, and those budgets are DFA, where there's a $6,400,200 decrease. And if you'll look further down to line 76 with the Public Safety Department, you'll see that same amount is plugged into DPS. That is the proposed transfer of the Capitol Police from DFA to DPS. Also, if you look at line 29 under the Mississippi Adequate Education Program, you'll see $50,722,581. That's our projection at this point as to what the teacher pay raise would be for this year that we passed unanimously and have sent to the House. The only other change that you'll see on the worksheet is with the Medicaid Department, item 69, line 69, and that is a $15,318,318 decrease. And let me just remind you of the Medicaid budget we completed last year. We used $85 million in capital expense funds to help shore up the Medicaid budget last year. Obviously, we were down on revenue due to the pandemic, but we used the one-time capital expense funds to shore up that budget. Those monies were pulled out. They were supplemented under the LBR with general funds, and then it was determined that the $15 million was money that would come out for needs that they didn't have. Now, we have talked to them about the possibility of getting some of that money back as we get further down the road in the process, and we would have to use either find some general funds or other one-time funds, maybe capital expense funds, to help supplement that budget. I will tell you that all of the budgets that we will take up today will have language, a VCP language change, and that is to allow for reclassifications within the agency. So if you've got someone within the agency that would take a step up, they're moving from an accounting level 1 to accounting 2, let's say, they would be entitled to those increases. Last year we froze everything because of the cuts, but this year the reclassification language is included in that. And we're certainly going to talk to some of the agencies about whether realignments and reallocations may be utilized too. Each of these budgets has a reverse repealer in it, as we traditionally do, to make sure that we keep these alive for further discussion. All of the, just for your information, almost all of the budgets that we have pulled out any reappropriation language. We did leave reappropriations in for our 3 HBCUs, that they will be allowed to use the funds that we appropriated last year that they have not used as far, and that's in their specific budget that I will go over. Mr. President, I'll be happy to yield to questions about the overview of the appropriations process at this time.
Thank you.
If any members have questions.
On the big picture, before we get into a number of the bills, he has asked if anyone has an overview. Senator Blackman, for what purpose do you seek recognition?
Thank you, Mr. President. I had a couple of questions.
Senator, will you for questions?
I yield.
Senator Blackman, you're recognized for questions.
Thank you so much. Okay, I see that for the estimated with reappropriation for FY 2021, that you have education enhancement of 388. Is that what I'm looking at? Yeah, 388. And then in our reserves from our elbow budget book, it's 15, and these are millions, obviously. And so this is, in the book, is what had not been appropriated.
Senator Blackman, I'm having a hard time understanding you. I couldn't hear the last part
I'm
about
sorry.
something in the budget.
Okay, in the fiscal year 22 Senate action, at the bottom for the FY 2021, you have education enhancement funds of $388 million.
Right.
And in the book, it has unallocated 15 million. So you all you used that 388 million in your appropriations already.
Well, that was last year's budget, 2021. 2022, we've got 396 million in EEF funds.
And of that 396 million, did you allocate all of that?
I don't think I think about the 15 million has not been allocated yet. And as you know, those funds, EEF funds, will go to our educational institutions, K through 12, community colleges, and universities.
Okay, and in the 2021 capital expense, we had 140 million. And for 2022 is zero. So you've allocated all of that money.
No, the capital expense funds have not been allocated.
So do you know what's in there?
We don't know what that amount would be. I'd be guessing if I told you what it was. And the capital expense funds are, all right, Corbin tells me right now it's 81 million. And you know, capital expense funds are calculated at a different time than the rest of the budget. So
Okay, so the
that's what it
capital
is.
expense fund still has the 81 million that was shown in our budget book.
That's what I'm told, 81 million.
Okay,
Of course,
thank you.
let me clarify something and be real clear about this. We have done deficits already, and most of those deficits are utilizing capital expense funds. I mean, some are using special funds, so some of those capital expense funds are going to be gone by the time we get to the process of appropriations.
So can you tell me how much has been expended out of that fund for deficit appropriations since the analyst represents that we still have 81 million in there?
We could probably get that. Now, keep in mind, the deficit bill, the first deficit bill that we passed is sitting down at the House right now, and I know there are two other changes that need to be made to it before it comes back to us again. So I don't want to, you know, whatever number it is right now could change between the time it gets back to us here in the Senate.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Senator
Senator Blackman. Senator Jordan, you're recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Chairman, item 37, their general support, including errors. I noticed for fiscal year 22, you dropped about $7 million. Is that because of the errors funds?
It did, the ARES fund, this is the last year of the ARES payments. I think it's 6.733 million. I was going to pull up that budget separately and bring it up, but I think it's $6.7 million roughly, Senator Jordan.
Okay. All right, I was concerned about that. I knew here you had more, and the reduction probably would indicate that the ARES funds, this is the last year for them?
This is the last year of the step-down portion of the ARES funding. We still have the ARES endowment funds that are utilized. I think they're about $70 million there that we use interest on and other fees out of that ARES endowment fund. So, but I think that will continue. I need to check with council. I think that will continue on. But this is the last year of the step-down on the ARES amount. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Jordan. Senator Norwood, you're recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Chairman, appreciate all the hard work that you have done and are doing.
Thank you.
I have one general question, and that is, are we able to allocate all of the money that the various departments would need to access all the federal dollars that may be available to them?
I hope so. We've actually got a deficit bill that will be coming at the end of the appropriations bills that's going to include some language for a few agencies to allow them to pull down those federal funds. So absolutely, our intent is that every agency would be able to to expend the funds that are appropriated to them through the federal government.
So if we don't see it now, we will be able to see it potentially before we are done here.
Yes, sir, Senator Norwood. You know, typically we're going to have that language in there anyway. Last year we had the unique situation of the CARES Act funding, which has led to some of the reason we're going to have to do some deficit changes on spending authority. But certainly our intent would be to give the agencies the escalation authority to utilize those federal funds and other funds they may receive through grants, et cetera.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Senator
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Norwood. Other questions of a general nature before we begin a number of different individual appropriations bills? Seeing none, Senator, you're recognized to proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. What I'd like to do is take up several items in block today and then go back to individual items. And so if I need to suspend the rules to jump ahead to item, and I'll read out the items I'd like to take up in block at this point. And of course, if any senator wants to pull aside any of the items that I'm going to put into those that I would like to take in block, I'm certainly willing to pull those out. All right, what I would like to do then is pass on items 1, 2, and 3 on today's calendar, and then I would like to go to item 4, and I would like to include items 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, and 44, jumping to 46, 49, 50, 51, 52, and take those items up in block.
Okay,
That's my
Senator,
motion.
could you reread those for the clerk, and then we'll read them out so everyone will know?
Sure. The items I would like to take up in block are items 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 14, 15. On page 2, all items except for 20 and 23. On page 3 of the calendar, all items except for 45, 48, and 53.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, would you read those numbers for last time, and then we'll begin with the senator's recommendation and answer any questions he may have. So, Mr. Clerk, would you read all the ones that are going to be considered in block, subject to the senator's offer to remove any of those from block? Please proceed. Mr.
Senate
Clerk.
Bill number 2907, appropriation IHL, Mississippi State University Agriculture and Forestry Experiment Station. Senate Bill number 2908, appropriation IHL, Mississippi State University Cooperative Extension Service. Senate Bill number 2909, appropriation IHL, Mississippi State University Forest and Wildlife Research Center. Senate Bill number 2910, appropriation IHL, Mississippi State University Veterinary Medicine College. Senate Bill number 2912, appropriation IHL, University of Mississippi Medical Center. Senate Bill number 2917, appropriation Emergency Management Agency. Senate Bill number 2918, appropriation Military Department. Senate Bill number 2919, appropriation Veterans Affairs Board. Senate Bill number 2920, appropriation Ethics Commission. Senate Bill number 2921, appropriation Judicial Performance Commission. Senate Bill number 2922, appropriation Employment Security Department of. Senate Bill number 2924, appropriation Tax Appeals Board. Senate Bill number 2925, appropriation Workers' Compensation Commission. Senate Bill number 2927, appropriation Transportation Department Upstate Aid Road Construction Office of. Senate Bill number 2928, appropriation Tennessee Tom-Bigby Waterway Development Authority. Senate Bill number 2929, appropriation Chiropractic Examiners Board of. Senate Bill number 2930, appropriation Dental Examiners Board of. Senate Bill number 2931, appropriation Funeral Services Board. Senate Bill number 2932, appropriation massage therapy board of. Senate Bill number 2933, appropriation pharmacy board of. Senate Bill number 2934, appropriation council's board of examiners for licensed professional. Senate Bill number 2935, appropriation veterinary examiners board of. Senate Bill number 2936, appropriation architecture board of. Senate Bill number 2937, appropriation gaming commission. Senate Bill number 2938, appropriation geologist board of registration. Appropriation Animal Health Board of. Senate Bill number 2945, Appropriation Fair and Coliseum Commission Livestock Shows. Senate Bill number 2946, Appropriation $29.54, Appropriation Treasurer's Office. Senate Bill number 2955, Appropriation Debt Service General Obligation.
Okay, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask if there are any senators that would like to set aside any of those items that I had intended to take up in block.
Before the motion is made, the senator has requested anyone who would like to remove one. Senator DeBar, you're recognized for what purpose?
Request, Mr. President.
Please proceed.
I'm going to ask that we set aside item number 15, Senate Bill 2918.
One moment, please. Item number 15, Senator. 2918, Appropriation Military Department. Senator Bryan, you're recognized.
Item 43, Senate Bill 2946.
Item 43, Department of Audit, Bill 2946. Mr. Chairman. Senator Simmons, Derrick, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Item number 16, Senate Bill 2919, Veteran Affairs Board.
Item number 16, Mr. Chairman, Appropriation Veterans Affairs Board, number 2919. Senator Hill, you're recognized.
Just a question before I have one set aside. On the egg marketing board, is that a special fund board, strict special funds, or is there any general funds mixed in there?
That's all special funds.
Special funds.
That's 2943, Senate Bill 2943.
That's a special fund agency.
I'd like to set that one aside, please, 2943.
2943, number 40, Appropriation Egg Marketing Board. Anyone else? Anyone else? We're ready for your motion on the remaining one, Senator.
I move that we suspend the rules to take up the items listed in block.
Senator has moved to suspend the rules. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. My motion now would be to, if there are no questions about the items that were taken up in block, my motion would be that we use passage of those items by use of the morning roll call. Usual motion, I'm sorry.
Senator makes the usual motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Now we're ready, Senator.
Thank you. Now we move, if there are no questions on those items that we've listed in block, that we use the morning roll call for final passage.
Questions? Questions? Seeing none, the Senator has moved for use of the morning roll call for final passage. Anyone object to the procedure? Anyone wish to record as voting no? No? Present? Present? Seeing none, use of the morning roll call is granted. Those bills are passed in block unanimously. Back to you, Senator Hobson, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just so we can stay in order, my motion now would be to suspend the rules to go back to item 1 on today's calendar.
Motion to be made to suspend the rules to go back to return to item 1 on the calendar. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senator, you're recognized for number 1, Senate Bill 2904.
Where's the worksheet on this? Thank you, Mr. President. This is the IHL General Support Bill. The full funding for the Senate action in general funds is $769,657. I'm sorry, my mistake. The general fund support is $288,592. Total support for all IHL general support is $1,230,229,930. As I mentioned in the explanation, we do include the heirs reappropriation funds. The remaining funds to be spent, Jackson State has $1,019,621. Mississippi Valley State has $419,968. We have updated the Education Enhancement Fund amount to $56,885,104. And again, all the language in all of these bills does include the reverse repealer. And I'll yield for any questions on this bill, Mr. President. If there are none, I move passage by use of the morning roll call.
I believe your motion would be the usual motion first, Senator.
Usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Now we're ready. Senator Blackman, for what purpose you seek recognition?
An amendment, Mr. President.
An amendment. One moment, Senator. Please proceed up. Senator Hobson, if you wait one moment, we have an amendment on item number 1, Senate Bill 2904. Do we have the amendment up on the screen, Mr. Clerk? Okay, the amendment's on the screen, and Senator Blackman, you're recognized to explain the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. This amendment is asking for $50 million to be distributed to the 3 historically black colleges and universities. As some of you who were here, the Ayers versus Musgrove lawsuit, which is approximately 29 years old, there was a settlement reached, and as part of that settlement, $29 million, $32 million was supposed to be raised for the 3 historically black colleges and universities. And so what this amendment is asking for is $50 million, because it's been adjusted for inflation. And under Joint Rule 20A, the amount of the general funds that are appropriated for the purpose of funding debt service general obligations shall be reduced by that same amount. If there are no questions, I move adoption of the amendment.
Questions on the bill? I'm sorry, questions on the amendment? Questions on the amendment? Senator Hobson, you're recognized to close.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Senator Blackman. Let me say that, one, I don't know where we're going to get the $50 million, but two is I'm very proud of the fact that since I've been here and I've worked on the universities and colleges budgets for a lot of years, that I know with the help of my predecessor in this role that I think we've put nearly $12 million of extra money into the HBCUs above and beyond what was required in the settlement. And I went personally, and I think my predecessor too, and a few others went to, good lengths to make sure we did everything we could to help out our HBCUs. So I'm very proud of that fact, and I think we've done. Sure, every agency in the state would love to have more money, but I stand by the fact that we've done a good job putting extra money well above the funds that were required in the settlement into the HBCUs, and I think they do a great job, and I'm very proud to have one in my hometown, have an auxiliary unit of Alcorn State in my hometown. So anyway, I'm going to ask you to not support the amendment for those reasons, and I appreciate it.
Senator Blackman, recognized to close.
Thank you, Mr. President. This body has contributed additional funds to the HBCUs. However, this monies have not been contributed. We are early in this appropriation process. These bills will be going to conference. The debt obligations always has money in it. And the reason it has money is because the treasurer is constantly trying to find ways to lower our interest rates when we're borrowing money. And as we know, under this pandemic, we are just about at 0% interest rates. So there will be monies in the debt service account. And we ought to be trying to live up to our obligations. $12 million is great. It was supposed to be $34 million. $1 million was raised. When those that plaintiff and the state of Mississippi entered into that settlement agreement, both sides did it in good faith. So I just ask you to exercise good faith for your predecessors and for those of us to come, and support these historically black colleges and universities. I ask you to vote for the amendment.
Thank you very much. We're ready for your motion, Senator. Is that your motion? Senator Blackman? Is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Motion's been made to adopt the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, no. No. The noes have it. Please proceed. Amendment is defeated. Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you. There are no other questions. I move adoption by use of one roll call.
One moment. I think Senator Jordan, you're recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Chairman, I recall what Senator Black was talking about. Senator Collier, I believe the name, the president of Mississippi, University of Mississippi at that time, raised $1 million, and that brought it down to 34. Now, the 12 million that you have, that is towards that 34 millions that we fell short of. That was a part of that 34 million, the 12 million that you mentioned has been added to the ARIS case?
No, sir. That was just about 12 million. I think it was roughly, it's under 12. I want to say 11.6 or $7 million of additional funds that I know since we've been in this role, and it may be more than that. Senator Jordan, I remember some of the years that we've added additional money above and beyond, but it was not, allocated or pushed in any particular way. It was just to get some additional money.
That's just an addition of 12 million.
Pardon?
That is an addition of 12 million towards the ARIS case?
Towards the HBCUs.
HBCUs. It doesn't have anything to do with the ARIS case. It's just an addition of 12 million to HBCUs.
That's correct. Just additional money for HBCUs.
Okay. So that would somewhat slacken the deficit towards the 34 million that Dr. Collier, 35 million, he raised 1 million, if I recall. It's been 20 years ago.
Right, that's my
And so that 12 million you're talking about doesn't go towards that indebtedness of the 34 million is what you're telling me, but it's just an addition 12 million to the HBCUs.
That would be a fair statement. I don't think, at least from my perspective, and I can't speak for anyone else, but from my perspective, I never looked at that as additional funds that went towards that program where I think it was Ole Miss or Chancellor Kayat
Yes.
some combination thereof that put the $1 million into that fund. These were just additional funds, and really the money that I'm talking about doesn't count the other programs that I know. I mean, almost every year, and I handled these budgets for 8 years.
Yes, sir.
The number of programs that I know we supported, STEM programs and additional schools and money to fix up some things. So I'm not even counting that money, but I'm not saying that's any justification, because I know other schools have gotten funds too, but I just know that we've gone, I've tried to go above and beyond to help shore up some of those things where I saw as deficiencies at our HBCUs to help get them
We appreciate that.
elevated and on track.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Turner Ford, for what purpose?
Question.
We yield for a question,
I
Senator.
yield.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Chair. When meetings are being held regarding the appropriations process, is the heirs case and this outstanding amount being discussed in terms of how it will be raised?
In terms of how much was raised?
How it will be raised? The 34 million that remains outstanding?
Senator Turner Ford, I really haven't heard much about that since, probably in the course of my time here, a handful of times I've heard discussions about those private funds. I think the intent was to have private funds to help supplant or supplement the 35 million, but I don't have a lot of discussions about the discussions I typically have with our HBCUs are about specific needs they have on their campuses.
So since I've been here, I've heard about how heirs, the funding will eventually be depleted in terms of the lawsuit, but then there's this private endowment or the indebtedness that's owed by these individual institutions. Will there be any efforts going forward to try to make sure that the HBCUs realize this money?
I've not been involved in those discussions, so I don't, that's not part of what I've discussed with anybody, but certainly willing to look into it. But no, it's not really been on the table much in any discussion I've had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Other questions on the bill? Okay, Senator, we're ready.
All right, I move adoption by use of the morning roll call.
Senator, move adoption by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to procedure? We should be, of course, voting no. No. Present. Seeing none, the bill passed by use of the morning roll call. Well, I'm sorry. Senator Hill, present. Anyone else? Senator Turner Ford, present. Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, the bill is passed by use of the morning roll call with 2 presents. The court is voting present. We'll go to number 2, I believe, Senator.
I'd ask that item be called up and title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2905, appropriation IHL subsidiary programs.
I make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. The total amount of Senate action for the subsidiary programs under IHL is in general funds $32,297,358. Total of all funding is $77,809,525. Keep in mind, these are the subsidiary programs that we have throughout the state that are oftentimes state programs that are housed usually or are handled by our universities, including things like the Stennis Institute at Mississippi State or the Gulf Coast Research Lab at USM or the Urban Research Center at Jackson State or Small Business Development Center at Ole Miss. So that's what this budget does. There's no other changes other than the reverse repealer that I mentioned that are in all the budgets.
Senator Hill, you're recognized for what purpose?
I have a question, please.
Question, Ms. Secretary.
I yield.
Go ahead.
On lines, thank you, on lines 56 and 57, and then again on lines 89, you're looking at Executive Office of the Board of Trustees. You've got a $6.6 million line on 57, and then you've got a $19.8 million on line 89. Is there a reason that that's separated? And also, could council tell me what salaries are included in that? That's $27 million
Yeah,
for executive office of the Board of IHL.
That's, well, the first line is general funds, and the second line is special funds. And that's going to be everyone from the commissioner.
I'm sorry.
That's going to be all the folks from like the commissioner, Dr. Rankins. It's going to be all the staff members that work there. It's going to be.
So the first one's general funds, the $6.6 million one is general funds on line 57?
Yes,
and then the 19.8 is special funds?
That's correct.
Can you tell me what the source of those special funds are?
That's a good question, but hold on just a moment. I do have the salaries information. Salaries are $7.35 million in salaries.
Out of that 19.8 or
Out of the total amount, I mean, obviously it's more than it's not all going, general funds aren't all going directly to salaries because that's only 6.6 million, but it's all
So
those
7
funds
million in
together.
salaries?
Correct.
And then the rest
7.3.
goes to the operation of the board, so you're looking at still $20 million to operate the IHL board. That's what it looks to me like,
Yeah,
$20 million.
Yeah, probably over that, but I don't get into the details of, let's see, I'll give you some information that I do have, but I can't get more specific than this. 7.3 in salaries. I got 113,000 in travel. You got contractual arrangements, 17.3 million.
Contractual?
Contractual.
So what would that, can I get an example?
I would imagine that if they've got somebody that's doing work to study or look at things on implementation of programs would be contractual.
So $17 million in contracts through IHL board.
That's correct.
That's interesting. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay. I can get you more breakdown on that, Senator Hill, if you would like it.
Thank you, Senator Hill. Any other questions on the bill? Any other questions? Seeing none, Senator, we're ready.
I move adoption of Senate Bill 2905 by use of the morning roll call.
Use of morning roll call has been requested by the senator. Anyone object to that procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Present. Senator Hill, present. Anyone else? Anyone else? Bill passes by use of the morning roll call, one present. Senator, we're back on number 3.
Thank you. I'll go to that item and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2906, appropriation IHL, all foreign state agricultural research, extension, and land grant programs.
I make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. All
Aye.
opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed.
I move adoption of the committee sub and ask to be allowed to explain.
Committee substitute. Please, you're recognized to explain the committee substitute.
Thank you, Mr. President. The reason this committee sub is in here is because Alcorn State has requested the name of their ag research program be changed to the Alcorn State University Agriculture Research Extension and Land Grant Programs. So there's a technical wording change, and we made that substitution in committee. The total amount of funds for Alcorn State Ag programs in general support is $6,033,962. Total of all funding is $6,053,284. I'll yield for questions. If there are none, I move adoption by use of move adoption of the committee substitute first.
Okay, questions on the committee substitute? Seeing none, the senator has moved for adoption. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senator, we're back on the bill.
Thank you. Now I move adoption by use of the morning roll call.
Senators move for adoption by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to that procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Present. Seeing none, use of the morning roll call passes unanimously. We're back, Senator, I believe, to number 8.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that the title be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title, 2911.
Senate Bill number 2911, appropriation IHL, student financial aid.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. The reason I pulled this bill aside is because we've had a lot of discussion about student financial aid already this session. I will tell you the total general support proposed for next year based on LBR is $42,085,128 in general funds. Total of all funding is $43,421,128. I suspect this amount's going to have to change before the session's over. Obviously, we've dealt with, my understanding, we're going to have a reduced deficit request. You'll recall a week or two ago, we passed a bill that sent 5.5 million of general funds and $5.6 million in general funds and $500,000 in special funds down to the House. They have tightened up those numbers a little bit on what they will need for financial aid for this current calendar year, school year, and it will be, the number we're told now is 3.6 million in general, 3.6 million in general funds, the same $500,000 in special funds. So I just bring this to your attention because it's likely that we're going to have to bump this number up a good bit before the end of the session. But that's the explanation of the bill. I'll be happy to yield to questions.
Questions on the bill? Questions on the bill?
If not, I move adoption by use of the morning roll call.
Senators move for adoption by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to that procedure? Wish to be, of course, voting no. No. Present. Seeing none. Use of the morning roll call passes unanimous. We'll go to item number 10, I believe, Senator.
I would ask that the title be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2913, appropriation, community and junior colleges board administrative expenses.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. Total amount in the community college support bill is, the administrative board portion is $5,764,767 in general funds. Total of all funding is $127,048,793. We did have some changes from last year's bill. Language changes, some one-time funds we'd put into community colleges that have been moved out, and including a $325,000 capital expenditure for a data center and technology upgrades. And we also had some language changes, just cleanup languages on this one, and that's explanation of the bill.
Questions on the bill? Seeing none, Senator, we're ready for your motion.
I move adoption by use of the morning roll call.
Senator, move for adoption by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to that procedure? Anyone wish to record as voting no? No. Present? Present. Hill. Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, bill passed by use of the morning roll call, one present. Please proceed, Senator.
I ask that we go to item 11 on the calendar and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2914, appropriation, community and junior colleges board, support for community and junior colleges.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you. This is the support bill for community colleges. Total amount of general funds is $181,635,236. Total of all funding is $629,420,237. Be happy to yield to questions if there are none.
Questions on the bill? Questions on the bill? No, I see no
Adoption by
questions.
use of the morning roll call.
Senators move for adoption by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no? No. Present? Present. Seeing none, bill passed by use of the morning roll call. Without objection or present. Number 12, I believe, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that that item be called up and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
15, appropriation, corrections department.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. The reason I wanted to pull this aside, Department of Corrections, obviously, if any of you have questions, you can, but this is another one like financial aid that I think that has a substantial amount of work that's going to have to be done. As I've mentioned to you before, we're probably going to be looking at some potential deficits with corrections, but I just want to bring that all to your attention because we do have work to do in this area, and the total amount of funding proposed is $301,771,007. of general funds. A total of all funding is $320,578,941. Again, some of the things that I think we'll be doing in corrections will be deficits into this fiscal year. Some of it's going to be looking at some changes that we've talked about and helping to get some pay increases if possible to some of the guards there and some other areas. So a lot of work to be done on this budget as we go forward. Happy to yield the questions. If there are none, I move adoption by use of the roll call.
We do have one senator. Senator Simmons, you're recognized for a question.
Question, Mr. President.
Will you yield, Senator?
I yield.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Chairman Hobson, for yielding. In your presentation, you talked about with this agency, we're going to be looking at some deficit appropriation. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
I guess my concern is before we had the crisis that we experienced at the end of 2019, and the former commissioner had come to this body asking for deficit appropriation several times. Do you recall whether or not we gave a deficit appropriation to the agency before?
Was that in 19?
Well, really, she came in 18 and also 19, and I know it was under a different administration, but do you recall what we did regarding those requests for deficit appropriations for the agency and the conditions of the prisons and the support of the employees there to just make it a safe environment? Do you recall what we did?
I really don't. I did not handle that budget at the time, but I know that one of the things that came forward when I moved into the appropriations chair slot was that there was some outstanding medical expense, a significant amount. Last year, we paid that down. We paid a good portion. There's still about $8 million worth of medicals that we need to catch up on, and it's my hope that we're going to be able to eliminate that this year. But I do know they had a substantial amount in unpaid medicals, and there may have been some other areas, Senator Simmons, but I don't know.
Okay, and we will get the details of that deficit appropriation through the deficit appropriation bill?
Yes, we will. That probably will be later in the session, depending on how the funding's looking. As I mentioned in an earlier question, a response to an earlier question, that we're going to see how things look, but there's definitely some needs out there in corrections.
Yeah, and they have been out there for quite some time, and I just thank you for your work for finally looking at it now, because the agency has come time and time again asking for help that we all know they desperately need. But thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Simmons.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Other questions? I'm sorry, Senator Norwood, for what purpose you seek recognition?
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Hobson. Senator Hobson, I was looking for, do you know how much money we are appropriating for the private prisons?
I might can get that. I know how much they're asking for a deficit on some private prisons. I know we spent some last year when they had the crisis at Parchman, and they moved those prisoners to Tutwiler. Let's see. Looks like in 21, there were in private prisons, and this is more than Tutwiler. This is all the private prisons. $66.7 million.
Do you have an idea? Are these all general fund dollars, or is this a combination of?
General fund, yes, sir.
Do we have any federal dollars going into the private prison?
Not in the private prisons, no.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Senator. Other questions? Senator Simmons?
Question, Mr. President.
Will you yield for a question, Senator?
I yield.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Hobson, I almost forgot this. Last year, we passed a bill that a bill became law that will increase the amount for the regional jails. Is that in this appropriation? The increase for those regional jails for housing inmates?
Yeah, last year we gave the authority for them to go up to the $31 or so, I think was the amount, and we gave them that authority.
But no appropriation.
We did not require that, but there was no additional appropriation specific for that point. But I have talked to the commissioner this year about some of there are a lot of issues at play here, and one of those things is where we can house some prisoners at the regional facilities to which you reference. We can do some of that at a cheaper, less expensive cost, and they've got to be a certain level of prison. You can't send your most hardened criminals and the ones that are high security type prisoners there, but there may be some that are in the lower to medium level, depending on the regional facility. So I think that's some of this whole dynamic of what they're trying to work out, and we're trying to respond to it to help make our entire correction system work as smoothly as possible.
But in the appropriation that's before us now, there is no additional monies for those regional jails based upon what we passed last year, right?
Can you repeat that one more time?
But the appropriation that's before us, for those 15 regional jails that came here last year and that law that we passed, it's in this appropriation money for those regional jails if they house an inmate. That increase.
Yeah, it's going to be in whatever the general funds are that they have to utilize. It's going to be within their general funds to utilize. And what my thought is to allow the commissioner and his staff to determine where best to put those. So you don't really have a number. I think they want to get to that number where they can pay the full 31, and that's fine. I'm happy to have it. I've got a regional facility in my district, my Senate district, and I know many of you do too. And I think they would like some more prisoners, and as long as they can find the right mix and pay that amount with the funds they have, then I'm all for that. Yeah, I think it's a good use of the funds.
Thank you, Chairman.
Probably
Thank you,
get more bang for your buck that way.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Simmons. Thank you, Senator. Other questions on the bill? Other questions? Seeing none, Senator, I think we're ready.
Move adoption by use of the morning roll call.
Senators move for adoption by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seeing none, the bill passes by use of the morning roll call. We want to take a moment to welcome Senator Jody Stevenson from the House to the deliberative body. Good to have you, Senator. Nice to have you here, Representative.
Did he just get moved to senator?
No. We just.
Yeah.
But he's enjoying the deliberative body. Now, next, I think we're on item 13.
Thank you, Mr. President.
It's good to have you, Jody, by the way. Thank you.
We go to that item and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2916, appropriation, Public Safety Department of.
I make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. As I mentioned at the outset, this bill, the DPS bill, does include the additional funds that will be transferred from DFA over to DPS for the Capitol Police. That is general fund transfer of $6.4 million and additional $100,000 of special funds to be transferred as well for a total of $6,500,200. The total amount of the DPS budget in general funds is $94,563,074. Total of all funding is $194,699,541. That's an explanation of the bill. I'll be happy to yield to questions.
Questions on the bill?
If there are none, I move adoption by use of the morning roll call.
Seeing no questions, Senators move for adoption by use of the morning roll call. Does anyone object to the procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Present? Seeing none, bill passes by use of the morning roll call. Senator, we're ready. Next one.
Thank you. I ask that we go to item 15 on the calendar and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2918, appropriation, Military Department.
Make the usual motion.
Sir makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed.
Thank you. Total general funds for military is $7,558,359. Total of all funding for the military department is $147,648,901. I think Senator DeBar needed to pull that one, but I'm happy to yield to questions if there are any.
One moment.
No.
Senator DeBar, any questions on the bill?
Adoption by use of the morning roll call.
Any other questions? Senator DeBar, pass. Any other questions? Any other questions? Seeing none, senators move for passage by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to that procedure? Anyone wish to record as voting no? No. Present? Seeing none. Pardon me?
Present.
Seeing none, is it? Okay, I'm sorry. Apologize. Senator Barr's register is not voting on this matter. Seeing none, the bill passes by use of the morning roll call, with exception of Senator Barr, which does not vote on the matter. We're back to you, Senator.
Thank you. I ask that we go to item 16 on today's calendar and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2919, appropriation, Veterans Affairs Board.
I'll make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. Anyone object? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. Total amount of general funding for the Veterans Affairs Board is $5,324,778. Total of all funding is $49,437,052. I think the one that Senator, somebody pulled, Senator Seymour maybe.
That's correct, Senator. Okay.
If there are no questions, I'll move.
Questions,
Passage
Senator.
by use of the morning roll call.
First, Senator Simmons, for what purpose you seek recognition?
Question, Mr. President.
We yield for a question, Senator.
I yield.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is there anything in this appropriation to support the construction of a new Veteran Affairs home outside of Hinds County?
No.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
No, thank you very much. Senator Seymour, did you have any questions on this bill? Senator Barr? Senator Seymour?
If not, I move passage by use of the
Any
morning roll
questions
call.
on the bill? Thank you. We have no further questions, Senator. Senators move for passage on use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Anyone wish to record as voting no? No. Present? Seeing none, the bill passes unanimously by use of the morning roll call. I believe we'll go to number 20, Senator.
Thank you. I would ask that item 20 be called up and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2923, appropriation, Revenue Department of.
I make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. All
Aye.
opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. President. Total action for the Department of Revenue and general funds is $37,670,588. Total amount of all funding is $56,848,176. Really, the only reason I pulled this bill is I know there's a lot of discussion going on about particularly the ABC facility, and I'm not involved in that. That's more of a finance side of the chamber, but anyway, I just pulled the bill in case there are any questions about the appropriations process on Department of Revenue. If there are no questions, I move passage by use of the morning roll call.
Questions? Seeing no questions, senators move for passage by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Anyone wish to record as voting no? Present? Seeing none, bill passes by use of the morning roll call. I think it's item 23, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that the title be read on item 23.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2926, appropriation, Mental Health Department of.
I make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. Total general support for the Department of Mental Health is $207,094,040. Total of all support is $541,154,201. Last year, you'll recall, we put an additional $4 million in for community-based services, certainly as it's respective of the lawsuit that was pending and is pending. We just changed some language this year to plug that money into a different part of the bill where we already have some community-based programming. So the $4 million was pulled out. We took a place where we had $16.1 million and we put in the additional $4 million for a total of $20,100,000 on that program. I'm happy to yield to questions. I think we had a discussion too, by the way, in committee about the crisis centers down on the coast, but I think that has been clarified, that everybody understands that the language should be correct as presented. If there are no questions, I move.
Senator Jordan, you're recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Chairman, on mental health, it's probably someplace in the bill, but how much more money, since there's such a necessity of mental health in this state, how much more money are we putting into mental health?
How much more
additional money compared to last year and the previous years?
Well, last year is going to be, I mean, if I look at our estimate, last year is going to be ahead more than our LBR. Of course, LBR is going to be what we looked at in December based on the amounts that were requested. We took all the vacant pens, pulled out those, we pulled out the one-time funds, other than what I mentioned, and so the amount is actually less than last year, but again, we still got time to go in this session.
But the regional health centers on mental health and Whitfield, all those areas look like more resources should be placed there, because we can look at the situation, we find out that we have more people out that need services of that type, and we're putting less money into it. Just doesn't quite seem right.
Well, we're about $1.1 million off in general funds from last year. Again, as we do with every agency, when we take the vacant pens, positions that have not been filled, that we're not paying money for, and we take out one-time expenses, mental health is no different in that regard. Now, there may be some additional things that we take care of or we can help with as we go further in the session, but you know, the other part too, you know this, Senator Jordan, you've been here a lot longer than I have, is it's all based on, every budget's going to be based on a revenue estimate, and our revenue estimate, you know, one of the things I didn't talk about, or this is a good point to mention this for everybody, I didn't talk about it at the beginning, but just so everybody understands where we are in the overall scheme of our budgeting process. Last year, we used about $140 some odd million of one-time funds. We pulled $55 million out of the rainy day fund, and we pulled another 85 million or so out of the capital expense funds. I think we actually used even more when you count some of the deficits we did last year at the end. So we used a lot of one-time money last year to make sure that our cuts weren't any worse than they were. And of course, we were in the pandemic, in the heart of the pandemic, and we lost $240 million in 1 month in revenue. So it was tough. You know, our revenue estimates were lower, and unfortunately, some agencies had to take some cuts. Now, when we looked at the revenue estimate this year in JLBC back in December, we were still, you know, not, you know, things were leveling off some, and maybe slightly a little better, Senator Jordan. And again, for everybody's sake, but we got to remember we had to replace all this one-time money to start with. So we got to put general funds back in. So we had to pull those to start with. So we started kind of in a hole, if you will, and then we're working our way up, and hoping things will end up better.
I'm wondering if we're getting in enough federal funds, because we have a major problem in mental health situation. That's what seems like where most of the resources that need to be placed there, especially in these regional health centers and in Whitfield.
And my analyst reminded me that that they're asking for an additional $20 million, and I think mostly federal funds. That both the analysts over here are saying that they've requested some more money. So there may be some more to come to help out with mental health.
Well, we can use it. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Jordan.
Thank you, Senator
Good
Jordan.
questions.
Any other questions on the bill? I think we're ready for your motion, Senator.
Motion would be adoption, passage by use of the morning roll call.
Senators, move for passage by use of the morning roll call. Does anyone object to the procedure? And we wish to be recorded as voting no. No. Present. Seeing none, bill passes by use of the morning roll calls.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think next was the item 40.
Item 40. Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2943, Appropriation Egg Marketing Board.
I make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you. This was the bill that Senator Hill had asked to be pulled. And the total amount of funding, it's all special funds, it's $74,805.
Okay.
You for questions?
Questions on the bill?
No questions. I move adoption by use of the morning roll call.
Seeing no questions, Senators move for adoption by use of the morning, I'm sorry. I apologize. Time on. Senator Bryan, you're recognized for what purpose?
Is this the Egg Marketing Board?
This is the Egg Marketing Board.
Well, if no one
you wanna try
else
to hash
is going
some
to
plan?
ask the question, I will.
You're
Is
trying
this
to-
a lay board?
I was counting on you to hatch a plan to make this much better.
Oh, very good. All right.
Thank you.
Senator Simmons, for what purpose you seek recognition?
Just to announce a pair at the appropriate time, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. All right, let's proceed. Senator, we're ready.
Here it is. I request passage of the Egg Marketing Board Bill, Senate Bill 2943, by use of the morning roll call.
Sir, move for passage by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Well, the court is voting no. We'll get to the pair here in just one second. Present, no on Hill, no. Anyone else? Anyone else? Senator Simmons, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will vote aye on the Egg Marketing Board, and if Senator McDaniel was here, he would vote no.
We have a pair with Senator McDaniel. McDaniel, no. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, bills passed by use of morning roll call with the matters votes noted. All right, Senator, we're back on your calendar.
I think we're on item 43, and if that's the case, I would ask that the title be read.
Yes, sir, 43. Mr. Clerk, please read title.
Senate Bill number 2946, appropriation, audit, Department of.
I'll make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Ayes have it. Please proceed.
Thank you. This is Department of Audit. Total amount of general funds are $7,769,478. Total of all funding is $11,557,090. Happy to yield to questions from the senators. If there are none,
Questions from the
Senator Ryan
senators.
may want to speak on this.
Questions from the Senate? Seeing no questions, Senator Bryan, you recognize to speak on the bill? Does not wish to speak on the bill, Senator. I think we're ready for your motion.
I move adoption by use of the morning roll call.
Senators move for adoption by use of the morning roll call. Now, he objects to the use of the morning roll call. 1 second, please. Mr. Clerk's getting his paperwork together here. Okay, Mr. Clerk, please call the morning roll call.
Barnett, Barrett, Blackman, Blackwell, Blunt, Boyd, Branning, Bryan, Butler, Carter, Kaufman, Chazanall, Chisholm, DeBar, Delano, England, Fillingham, Frazier, Harkins, Hill, Hobson, Horn, Jackson of 11th, Jackson of 32nd, Johnson, Jordan, Kirby, McCon, McDaniel, McLendon, McMahon, Michelle, Moran, Norwood, Parker, Parks, Pope, Seymour, Simmons of the 12th, Simmons of the 13th, Sojourner, Sparks, Suber, Tate, Thomas, Thompson, Turner Ford, Whaley, Wiggins, Williams, Witherspoon, Younger, Barnett, Barrett, Blackman, Blackwell, Bryan, Butler, Carter, Chazanall, DeBar, Delano, Horn, Jackson of the 11th, Jackson of the 32nd, Jordan, McDaniel, Norwood, Parks, Simmons of the 12th, Simmons of the 13th, Sojourner, Suber, Tate, Thomas, Turner Ford, Witherspoon. Voting yes or yea, Barnett, Barrett, Blackwell, Blunt, Boyd, Branning, Kaufman, Chazanall, Chisholm, DeBar, Delano, England, Fillingame, Frazier, Harkins, Hill, Hobson, Jackson the 32nd, Johnson, Jordan, Kirby, McCollum, McLendon, McMahon, Michelle, Moran, Parker, Polk, Seymour, Simmons of the 13th, Sparks, Tate, Thompson, Whaley, Wiggins, Williams, and Younger. Voting no or nay, Blackman, Jackson of the 11th, Simmons of the 12th, Thomas, and Turner Ford.
Senator Suber, for what purpose you seek recognition?
To the vote.
Please proceed.
I vote aye.
Senator Suber, aye. Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk.
That's the way I work, man. I'm just all over the place.
Senator Butler, for what purpose you seek recognition?
To the vote.
Please proceed.
I vote aye.
Senator Butler, aye. Mr. Clerk. Senator Norwood, for what purpose you seek recognition? Please proceed.
To the vote?
Yes, sir.
I vote no.
Norwood, no. The bill passes 39 yeas, 6 nays. We're back on the calendar, Mr. Senator.
We ready?
Yes, sir, we're ready. We're ready to proceed.
Okay. Yes. I ask that we go to item 45 on today's calendar and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read title.
Senate Bill number 2948, Appropriation, Finance, and Administration Department of.
Make usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the Department of Finance and Administration that runs a lot of the general operations of our state government. And the big change in this is obviously we pulled out the it's $6.5,200,000 actually is the total amount, including the special funds for the Capitol Police that we intend to move to DPS. That's an explanation. There are other one-time funds that we had in there last year, like most other bills, that we pulled out. And the total amount of the general funding for DFA is $31,866,834 of general funds. The total amount of all funding is $62,678,070. I'll yield for questions.
Questions on the bill? Any questions on the bill? I see none, Senator.
I move adoption by using morning roll call.
Senator has moved for adoption by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no? No. Present? Seeing none. Bill passes by use of the morning roll call. Back to you, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. Go to item 48 on today's calendar and have the title read, please.
Mr. Clerk, please read title.
Senate Bill number 2951, Appropriation Development Authority, Mississippi.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move adoption of the committee substitute and ask that I be allowed to explain.
You're recognized to explain the committee substitute.
Thank you, Mr. President. The MDA bill has some language changes. Some of the items that came through LBR or through the LBC process have been removed. Some of the one-time funds that we put in there. We also included the dollar figure change in the Energy Academy that we passed a couple of years ago. That dollar figure is slightly different. It's $156,000 And that was set up that way. It was, I think, a 3 or 4 year and a different number each year, but we're corresponding to that year. A lot of the reappropriations, of course, are deleted, and some other line items were taken out that had one-time funds in those. The total amount of the general funding for MDA is $19,602,646. Total amount of all funding for MDA is $99,966,458. I'll yield for questions.
Questions on the bill? Questions on the bill? Seeing none, Senator, we're ready.
And by the way, Mr. President, as the budget analyst has reported out, we did change one, and the committee, reason for the committee sub was the line item that we had on the GCRF last year about funds going to Jackson County should have been the Jackson County Economic Development Foundation. So we made that change in committee, and that was the reason for that committee substitute. So if there are no questions on that, I move adoption of the committee substitute.
Any questions on the committee substitute? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Senator, we're back on the bill.
Now I'll move adoption by use of the morning roll call.
Senator, it's moved for adoption by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? No. Present? Seeing none, the bill passes by use of the morning roll call.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask them to go to item 53 on today's calendar and have the title read.
Item 53 on today's calendar. Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2956, appropriations, additional appropriations for various state agencies.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a second deficit bill, just to keep another vehicle alive that has a lot of code sections in there for areas where we may be doing some deficit funding before the session's over. If you'll see items and lines, sections 1 through 11 are zeroed out. We just have the sections in there that deal with sections 1 and 2 deal with the Attorney General's office for settlements. Sections 3, 4, 5, and 6 deal with the Department of Corrections. As I mentioned earlier, we may have some items to take care of there. Section 7 and Section 8 deal with funding for the Trooper School with DPS. One of those sections is potentially capital expense funds. The other one's special funds that could be utilized for that. Section 9 is funding for the Veterans Affairs Board for operational expenditures. Section 10 for the Wireless Communication Commission for contractual obligations. Section 11 is for ITS to allow them to spend the monies they collect from the pass-through services they provide to the agencies. And then you'll see sections 12 through 16 actually have dollar figures in those. Section 12 and 13 and 14 are all related to CARES Act funds that the governor had that were sent to these three entities. Section 12 is the Secretary of State's office. It allows them to spend $267,479. Section 13 is $76,120 to be spent by the Department of Ag and Commerce. And then Section 14 is $124,370 in special funds for DFA for agency operations. Section 15 is funding that relates to the increased FMAP for Medicaid. It's $199,710,000. These are funds that have come from the federal government due to the increased FMAP, and that'll allow Medicaid to spend those dollars. Section 16 is $15,000 in special funds for the Board of Animal Health for to purchase equipment for disease control. Section 17 is zeroed out, but it's potential funding for the Medical Licensure Board for some agency operations. And Section 18 is funding, and that's the funding I referenced earlier to Senator Jordan's questions, as mental health funds for infrastructure, operations, substance abuse block grant, along with CARES funding and other federal matching funds for medical services. So that's the explanation of this latest deficit bill, and I'll yield for questions.
Okay, Senator Hill, for what purpose you seek recognition?
Question, please.
Yield, Senator. Please proceed.
Do we have the numbers yet from the two lawsuits over at the Attorney General's office for the Jiffy Lube tire engineers and the Invisalign? Do we have those numbers yet?
We passed that in the previous deficit bill, and I'm sure I can get that for you, but that was.
Okay, I didn't remember it being line itemed in there. Maybe I just missed it. But if it was in the previous one, I'll have to go back with staff and see what that was. Another question on this one. Do we know what the deficit of $76 million from the Agriculture Department is coming from?
$76,000?
76,000, I'm sorry, not 76 million.
Hold on one second, Senator. I think I've got that here. It's the governor's CARES funds, but I'm trying to see what operational expenses.
Okay, thank you.
And this is money that came from the governor and for operational expenses, and they needed the authority that we would give them so they could spend the money.
Okay, on that other, if staff has that, I'd just like to get those numbers on those two Board of Engineers and Surveyors lawsuits that we had to pay for. Thank you.
I don't know how we're going to resolve. What I would like to do is in one vehicle, whether it's through the previous bill that's coming back from the House, that'll come back to us, or through this vehicle, we'll have a breakdown of every lawsuit.
I think we need that because you know what my interest is.
Yeah, sure.
We've sued two businesses, and the courts have basically come back and said that what they were suing under was a violation of their free speech. So we need to do something to prevent this from happening again when it's already happened twice. And they got slapped the first time, they did it again. Taxpayers deserve better, in my opinion.
I agree. Based on the facts that I saw of the cases, I agree that, one of them concerned me significantly. The other one was a little bit different. The facts were slightly different on those two cases.
Yeah, they were slightly different, but the rulings were basically the same. And what they've come back and said is, in a nutshell, that we need to look at our statute because they're suing based on what's in statute, and the courts are saying that our statute is going to allow them to continue to sue, is what it looks to me like, if we don't amend that statute some.
Yeah.
Kind of like the hair braiders and the...
Well, I think some of the, the one lawsuit in particular that you mentioned, the tire oil change place, I would just look at that, and to me, at its... Again, face value, it's a common sense type issue, really.
I agree.
And I think, I don't know what was going on when the decision was made to do some of those things.
Well, the Attorney General's office decided to give them a lawyer and go ahead and sue, and that's what my concern is. And I know more details about this second lawsuit because that happens to be one of my constituents involved, and I feel as strongly about the second lawsuit. I told them how it was going to end, wasn't going to end well, and it all played out. So I just appreciate you working with me on that.
Sure. And look, I don't always agree. One of the tough things about this is I don't always agree with some of the decisions that have been made in various agencies and whatnot, but the Attorney General is elected by the people of Mississippi, and that's only saying that the Attorney General has specific authorities and duties, whether I agree with their decisions as to go forward litigation or settle litigation.
Right.
I've argued that same issue out here at the well before. I may not always agree on some of those things, but they are elected by the people to do certain.
I agree. That's why I had the bill to allow some oversight for litigation with Occupation License and Review Commission because all these things are not always regulatory. Some of them are statutory. So I think that we need to look at when we continuously have lawsuits that are not in our favor, that are based on some type of statutory premise, then we need to look at that too. I hope you would agree.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Largely I do. We need to do what we can in this chamber to help prevent some of the lawsuits and to make sure we're doing the best job we can to help them get things right.
I probably wouldn't be as gracious as some of those people they sued. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hill.
Other questions on the bill? Other questions?
Hearing none.
Seeing none, Senator, we're ready.
Passage of the bill by use of the morning roll call.
Senator, move for passage by use of the morning roll call. Does anyone object to the procedure? Anyone wish to record as voting no? Present. Hill, present. Others? Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, the bill passes by use of the morning roll call with objection.
Thank you.
As present for Senator Hill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We all appreciate hard work you have to come up with all those numbers, and thank you very much. Okay, we move back to the general calendar, and we're Judd A. Senator Wiggins is recognized. We're on 54 on the general calendar.
Thank you, Mr. President. I go to item number 54, Senate nomination number 26. Call that up, ask the title be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate nomination number 26, Andre Lewis Furlong, Andre DeGray, Jackson, Mississippi, State Defender in the Office of the State Public Defender, 4-year term effective immediately and ending June 30th, 2024.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the nomination for Andre DeGree, the State Public Defender. Came before the committee. There were no questions. And my motion, Mr. President, would be to advise and consent.
Motion been made to advise and consent. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Seeing none, it'll be by use of the morning roll call, Senator. Senator, the motion is by use of the morning roll call. One moment. Senator Wiggins, by use of the morning roll call, your motion? Yes.
Advise and consent, Mr. President.
Yes. By use of the morning roll call, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
By the morning roll call.
By use of the morning roll call, anyone object to the procedure? Anyone wish to record as voting no? Present? Present, Suber. Anyone else? Simmons? Jordan? That's present, Senator Simmons. Jordan, present? Present. Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing no, he's confirmed by use of the morning roll call with the exceptions noted. Number 55, Senator Wiggins, you're recognized.
Go to that item, call that up, ask the title be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate nomination number 39, Stephen Charles Steve Edge, Original Mississippi, Mississippi Tort Claims Board as chairman. Appointee shall serve at the will and pleasure of the governor.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Same thing. This is to nominate Steve Edge to the Mississippi Tort Claims Board as chairman. Came before the committee. There were no problems, passed unanimously in the committee. And with that, my motion would be, Mr. President, that we advise and consent.
Motion to advise and consent.
Using the morning roll call.
Using the morning roll call. Good job. On any objections or questions? Any questions first? Any questions? Seeing none, Senator has moved for adoption by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no? Present? Seeing none, use of the morning roll call is granted. We'll move to, having exhausted the calendar, we'll move to announcements. Announcements. Senator Harkins, you're recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance Committee will move the meeting to 2:30.
2:30 today, Mr. Clerk. In which room, Senator? Senator Harkins, is that room 216?
Yes, sir, 216.
In 216, Mr. Clerk. Senator Kirby, you're recognized for announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to call a Rules Committee meeting in the morning at 9:15 in the Pro Tem's office.
9:15 in the Pro Tem's office. Senator McMahon, you're recognized for announcement.
Mr. President, I would like to ask for a motion to reconsider the vote by which line item 23 on today's calendar passed, Senate Bill number 2926, and I have an announcement.
23, 2926, to the chairman. And then, so I would say, Mr. Clerk, you want to read the title on, so we'll know what we're discussing on number 29. Senator's made a motion. 29.
Senate Bill number 29, 26. Okay, Senate Bill number 2926, appropriation mental health department of.
Is that correct, Senator?
That's correct.
Okay, to the chairman. Next, you have
announcement, Mr. President.
Please proceed.
Local and private committee will meet Thursday at 9 a.m. in room 408. Local and private will meet Thursday at 9 a.m. in room 408. And we have legislation from Senators Branning, Blackwell, Turner Ford, Younger, and Barrett to take up.
Any other announcements? Any other announcements? Mr. Clerk, would you read the meetings, please?
Finance will meet today, room 216 at 2:30 p.m. And Public Health and Welfare will meet today, room 216 at 3 p.m. Rules will meet at 9:15 a.m. on Wednesday in the Pro Tem's office.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, Senator Bryan.
I ask that we adjourn in memory of Kevin Atkins.
Kevin Atkins, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, Senator Bryan. Anyone else? Anyone else on announcements? Okay, we're ready for Senator Blackwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate stand in recess until the last committee report is filed, which time the journal will reflect. We're adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. We stand in recess.